I often put water elements in my paintings, and I've been doing that for years and years. Like if I'm doing 4 or 5 pictures, you'll see the tide rising through it, and that creates a barometer, like a rising barometer type symbol, right? An emotional level up going on, or if it's coming down. So anytime there's a water element, if you're looking at art, not just my art, but other art, you might consider thinking, is that a representation of the subconscious?
I am glad to welcome to the Meeting House, also not for the first time, Ike Moody from Louisville, Kentucky. He and I have been together, of course, for a long time, and we've been through a lot. And I've asked him to talk to us about the artwork that he has created. I am interviewing him at each stop on this journey, each one of the Tangle stops, I call it, about a different part of his journey through life, which is interesting to say the least. So he's decided to create a piece of artwork to illustrate it. And so I'm going to ask him some questions about this and let him talk to us. The first thing I want to note about the artwork is the text that's on it. This is one of the things about your art that has impressed me for years, is that your willingness to actually, what one person said to me, ruin a piece of art by writing stuff on it. Talk to us about these words and the phrase that you have embedded into this art.
Happy to do that. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody and thank you, Dwight, Dad. We've been together a long time, my whole life, actually. So I'm super excited to go on this adventure with my father, and we've worked out a thing where I'm going to be a part of the program, so it's really exciting. I'm creating an entire series of paintings that we're going to reveal one stop at a time. This is the first in that series, and the words, the text that he's referring to on the painting, the phrase is a Latin phrase that the professor may ring with him. It's a Latin phrase, solvitur ambulando, and I'm not sure that I'm saying that exactly correctly, solvitur ambulando. I used to say salvator ambulando, which I believe it does have a Spanish way to say it as well, which I believe is the way I initially was saying it. There is salvation in walking, is how that translates, or the solution is walking, or just a second,
okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
if you've got something to
this
ask.
is the word, the first word.
Yeah, salvator.
Salvator.
Ambulando. Ambulando, yes, like the walking.
Where did you get this phrase?
Okay,
Where did you hear it?
That's a good question. And I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way. And we'll be talking about a lot of these things that I bring up in further detail along the road in the next episode, etc. But I was doing a lot of walking, had been walking for several years, a lot of it, walking and talking, speaking the spiral, we would call it, with my good friend Woodstock, who was with me on my 98-month federal prison sentence for bank robberies. So that's out of the way. And so
this is what I mean. It's been a real interesting journey with this guy.
Well, so it was there, when you're doing something, when I'm engaged in something, it magnetizes things to you that are part of that, love, right? So if I'm walking all the time and I'm trying to, because in prison, it's like, well, I'm trying to avoid playing cards. I'm trying to avoid joining a gang, I'm just trying to, keep it copacetic. And walking is a safe thing to do, so, and it also absolutely is a way to churn the things on the compost pile. As everybody in here as a human being knows, walking facilitates both talking and thinking. And for myself personally, I think by talking, by verbalizing, I think my way through it, so walking with my friend Woodstock. May he fly in peace. He's gone on off this mortal coil into the next world several years ago, but he was with me on that journey, and we walked and talked every day for at least 4 hours, sometimes 8, and often just walking right through breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It was just the thing to do for me. And when I came across that phrase,
where did you hear the phrase?
Well, I read it in a book. You got a lot of time to read, you know what I mean? So I did more reading in prison than I do now, for sure, which is regrettable. I'm always, you know, every January 1st, I'm gonna read more books, you know, but it's being in prison, if you look at it right, can sort of be like what the professor was talking about. You can kind of be a monk. You've got this opportunity to really go within. And so I was reading, and that's how I came across this word, Salvator ambulando. And beyond prison, because I was done with that in 2008, and I've never gone back. Round of applause. You gotta live like that no more, you know? So, walking continued to be a part of my life, and anytime I find myself not spending time walking, I know that I'm not totally on my square. I'm not exactly balanced the way that I want to be. It's an activity like hiking that has girded me in a life that sometimes seems chaotic. And so the two decisions I've made in my life that really I felt rear end first into, like, you know, it's not like I was like, I'm going to walk and this is going to be a good part of my life. No, it's like, I don't have a car, you know what I mean? So I do a lot of walking, and you know, 47 years into it, I realize it's a positive thing, all the walking, you know, and of course I've known that for a long time now, but I am still walking, so buy a print.
So I want to ask about this person.
Sure.
Who is it? Is this a particular person?
This is a particular person.
Who is it?
His name is Robert. I'm not going to tell you his last name. This is a fellow who is from the streets of Louisville, Kentucky. He's a skater kid. You know, he's always on the board or whatnot, and he's, I would call him a performance artist, and he would say that as well. Now, he's not the type of guy who's going to pay the vendor booth fee, but he will show up and bring a construction cone and create a booth. You know what I mean? And create a space, and he makes paper flowers and hands them out. People give him money, 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, whatever. And he's definitely a part of the reality of my life. He's always on the streets walking in this general area in the city of Louisville. And, you know, he'll disappear for a little while and he'll come back. He'll disappear for a little while and come back, and he's walking somewhere else. You know, so I guess technically you would say he's a homeless person or a houseless person at the very least. And which is also, you know,
have you drawn him before?
So I started drawing him. The first time I saw him, I drew him. You know, I listened to that quiet inside voice, which sometimes irritates me because I've made a commitment to listen to the inside voice to decide who to sketch. And sometimes I'll not want to sketch, and the inside voice is like, you need to sketch him. You need to sketch that. So I've sketched him several times, and going all the way back to 2012. Most recently, 2 weeks ago at the Pride Parade in Louisville is where I saw him, having already decided that I was going to use Robert as a reference for the symbol of a walking person, the type of people that I draw and that I'm attracted to, the wanderers, the people on the edges, the people that are seeking, are the people that I'm very much drawn to, and lo and behold, I go out to the Pride Festival because it's literally outside my front door 2 blocks away in Louisville on the best 3-mile stretch in the region. And it's on Bardstown Road, just a great area. All the churches came out to support the diversity, and everybody was out, and Rob had a corner with his cone and his bike, and he was making his flowers, and he had on these gold shoes, literally these gold shoes with spikes on them. Not only did he have those, but he, when you get him going, you know, like he'll get going, he starts pulling out more shoes. he's got 3 or 4 pairs of shoes in his thing. He's got them lined up on his arms, and he's like, yeah, look. Look at my shoes, you know? And it's like, you know, shoes are a poor man's car, you know what I mean? He's got 3 pairs of shoes, he's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, this one wears out, I've got 2 more, nothing's stopping me, you know? So, and I told him, I said, Rob, I'm gonna give you some money, and if you'll, you know, sit for these sketches or let me take some pictures. And I would consider him a friend, and we've been acquaintances and friendly acquaintances for a long time. Passing each other here and there, and I got all these great reference photos, and that was 2 weeks ago, and so I've made this in the last 2 weeks. I really probably spent about 9 days on it. Yeah, and you know, he had on the vest, he had on a tie. I mean, I've taken some artistic liberty, obviously.
Here's his flowers.
Yeah, so he makes flowers, these paper flowers that he gives to people, and yeah, so, and you know, he literally had on the gold shoes. And this is kind of, you know, just somebody ambulandoing. The broken, there's a few things I'd like to point out. Something I learned along the way, I often put water elements in my paintings. And I've been doing that for years and years. Like if I'm doing 4 or 5 pictures, you'll see the tide rising through it. And that creates a barometer, like a rising barometer type symbol, right? An emotional level up going on, or if it's coming down. So anytime there's a water element, if you're looking at art, not just my art, but other art, you might consider thinking, is that a representation of the subconscious? It represents the subconscious mind, the things in our consciousness that we are wrestling with, we're dealing with, the things that are pushing us to go and seek, to go and walk. And so, like, he's got a pocket full of turbulent water with some little bombakis in it, you know what I mean? There's my little dude here, my little dude here. And so that's just one thing you'll see in a lot of my paintings, the water element. Also, you'll notice his arm is broken, or it's like, obviously, there's some damage to his body. And what this symbolizes for me in my semiotic lexicon, which that's art professor speak for symbols that mean something, okay? It's like my language of symbols, okay? The language, you know, it's the semiotics, I think is what that's called. This represents trauma, I guess, to use a word that is popular now. It represents like scars, things that have happened to us, hits that we've taken, like the professor was saying, like the cuts, the bruises, the things that happen along the way that we have to continue to live with, you know? It's, you know, by challenges alone that we grow. So Rob, I do very much consider a very beautiful and wise person, and you know, I love him very much.
Of course, the first thing I noticed was your hands. I've noticed this in most of your paintings. The hands you make prominent over and over again. What's this?
That's a great question. I love that you asked that question. It wasn't scripted. So the big hand man, all my paintings, like I'll try to use what's called foreshortening. That is, if something's coming at you, it gets larger, so it gives me, the artist, an opportunity to exaggerate that size even more, to say this is coming at you. In general, my big hand man philosophy is something that refers to people that do, action, things that require an effort. This is how I have proceeded through life. Like, I didn't think my way through life, like I did my way through life. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So there. So being an action man is what I would consider one of the, like a high compliment. If I say you're an action man, if I'm saying Rob's an action man, that's a compliment. He's out there making an effort to make his art and to engage reality. Unfortunately, a lot of the people I meet on the street are enslaved one way or another and on their journey. Something else I can identify with, and I'm not there today by the grace of God, but it happens to people along the way. But I don't begrudge those sorts of episodes and experiences, because while they leave some sort of brokenness, what I find amazing about the human spirit that I've experienced through interacting with people on all these levels, from prison to homelessness and addiction and recovery, family, personal, and I see it everywhere, is that, you know, these are the things that make us grow. And I'm not saying anything y'all don't already know, you know, like it's the experiences that make us who we are. So,
well, this certainly encapsulates a powerful experience. I want to thank you, Ike, for talking to us about this. Let's give him a big hand.